Welcome to this Select Few Saturday, and it's been a crazy week, but I definitely want to get this video out because I know how many of you guys look forward to this video. Kind of in a crazy atmosphere in the Bay Area at a seminar, but wanted to get this video out. So this one's going to be the 4 P's to personal power and becoming a more powerful person. And that can help you in business, life, success, relationships, family, parenting, whatever. So I'll get into these pretty quickly. The first P is perspective. Your perspective on life and on challenges and on problems is determining everything about how your life is going and how you feel energy-wise and how strong your mindset is. And I referenced perspective a couple videos back about how failure actually teaches you to have a better perspective. And I want to talk about perspective in a different way than you may have heard before. Everything that happens to you, whether it's a huge challenge, in business, life, failed relationship, teaches you something, and the perspective you take on that determines what you do next. Most people see a challenge or see a failure as something that hurts their self-worth or their self-esteem, so they don't take any action because they take it personal. You need to have a strong perspective on everything that happens to you and use that to better your future. Let me give you an example. The movie The Blind Side. There's a scene, if you've seen it, where Michael, the football player, is playing pretty soft. He's not really working hard, and he's not a great player. And there's one scene in the movie where his mom, Sandra Bullock, comes up to him and she says, "Michael, you're not blocking well. You're not really playing at your best. Do you care about me? Do you want to protect me?" And he says, "Of course." "Well, here's the deal. The quarterback is me. Do you want anything to happen to me?" And he says, "No." And then she goes, RJ, which is his little stepbrother, she goes, "RJ is the running back. Do you want anything to happen to RJ?" And he goes, "Of course not." And what happens, if you've seen the movie, which is a true story, is from that moment on, something shifts inside of him, his perspective flips, and he becomes one of the best high school players, goes on to the pro, all because he shifted his perspective on what he was doing. He was now protecting the quarterback and the running back like it was his family, and he turned a whole new level of motivation on. So how is your perspective on your life right now? If you're going through a struggle, maybe you were made to go through a struggle because you're going to teach other people how to deal with struggle and inspire them, because no one really cares about a story of someone being successful coming from something that is easy, right? They really attract the struggle. So have the right perspective on life, on school, on challenges, and that'll really help you. Number 2, after you have the right perspective, you need to have some preparation in what you do. So you know what you need to do more than anybody. The question's doing it. The more you prepare for something, the more confident you will be in that activity. So write down right now, what are 3 to 5 things you need to prepare for that can help you? Most people just wing things. They go into things thinking it's just they're gonna do well, or they base things off emotion with no preparation. You can't do that. Okay? The more you prepare for a test, for a speech, to write a book, to meet with a client, to meet with a friend, the more you think about it in advance and really think things through, the better things go. And I think the more fun you'll have and the better you'll do in everything you do. So prepare for everything, whether it's a test. And what happens is after you prepare, it becomes natural, and how you do anything is how you do everything. So once you have preparation as a habit, it's easier to do it later. If you become someone that always, they say amateurs wing everything, professionals prepare. So make sure you're preparing for whatever it is you have coming up in the next couple days or couple weeks, and that'll really help you become not only more powerful, but become more confident in everything you're doing. I have a special guest for the 3rd and 4th P. My good friend, Yo Pal Hal.
Hey everybody, happy to be here hanging out with Peter in Santa Clara. And if you don't know me, I'm Hal Elrod, author of the #1 best-selling book, The Miracle Morning. And the final 2 Ps, going off of what Peter said, the 3rd P is progress. And it's the idea that to be successful, it's about making consistent really daily progress towards your goals, towards your dreams, no matter how big or small that they might be. And I know Peter talked about, I saw one of his videos a few videos back where he talked about, progress is what fuels human motivation, right? If you want to be motivated, it comes from just making that progress and seeing that you're moving in the right direction. So for me, when I wrote my first book, my second book, it was that, the idea of oftentimes what holds us back from a big goal or a big dream is the idea that we're thinking all or nothing. We're thinking about where we are now, where we want to be down the road, and how far that gap is. And then often that can discourage us from even taking that first step because we think, that's so far away from where I am now, it can discourage us. The key to being really successful is understanding that when you live with a progress mindset, where you understand that making that incremental progress on a daily basis will make your goals and your dreams inevitable, right? That's what one of my mentors, Eben Pagan, calls inevitability thinking, which is the idea that if you define what your process is each day and you engage in that and you make progress and you move towards a predetermined result or goal or dream, your success is inevitable. You'll eventually get there. Usually, or oftentimes, it takes longer than you expected, but you'll eventually get there. So focus on progress, not perfection. Take baby steps every day and just move in the right direction, and you'll eventually arrive at your destination. And then finally, persistence. Persistence is the final P in the formula. And I look back at, for me, one of the most challenging situations in my life where I had set a goal, things didn't go as expected, and persistence became the most important tool in my toolbox. And that was, I had a goal to sell $10,000 for this 2-week sales competition back when I was a Cutco rep in direct sales. And the day before my first day of the contest, this 14-day contest, the day before, a guy ran a red light. I was driving, he came out of nowhere, ran a red light, ran into my car at 50 miles an hour, and smashed the front of my car, put it in the shop for weeks. Well, I was only 20 years old. I couldn't rent a car. Back then you had to be 21 years old. I couldn't rent a car, but I wanted to persist. I thought, when you have a mindset of persisting, it's where you value your commitments above your excuses. See, I had every excuse to give up on my goal because I had just wrecked my car and I wasn't old enough to rent another car. But I thought, how can I get around this? I started asking my manager, my friends, and then I called my dad. I said, Dad, how can I get around this? I didn't know anybody. I was new to the area. I didn't know anyone whose car I could borrow. And my dad said, Hal, you only have to be 18 to rent a U-Haul. You only have to be 18 to rent a U-Haul. So he said, why don't you go see about renting a U-Haul and doing your 2-week sales competition in a U-Haul? And I thought, that's a crazy idea, but it just might work. So I went down to the U-Haul place, hoping they would have like a little tiny, pickup truck U-Haul. All they had was the apartment mover, right? All they had was, this huge U-Haul, and I ended up doing 14 days in a U-Haul. Not very gas efficient, but long story short, I ended up surpassing my goal, and I was the #1 sales rep in the entire push period. Because I persisted in the face of adversity. So whatever your goals are, whatever your dreams are, personally, professionally, it's not going to be easy. Very rarely is something worth having easy. But if it's worth it to you, and you have that persistent mindset that you will achieve your goal no matter what, there's no other option. In fact, that's what I call the miracle mantra. I will achieve my goal no matter what, there's no other option. Persist with that level of intensity, that level of commitment, and there is nothing that you can't achieve. Make progress, persist, and your success will be inevitable.
So that's this week's Select Few Saturday. We will talk to you soon. Have a good night.